So I grew up, well, I was born into a family where both of my parents are Japanese, and they've been in America for like 30 years now, and they still can't speak English. Yeah. It's kind of sad, not gonna lie. 'Cause like they've been in America probably like longer now, or about the same amount as they've been in Japan. So like at this point they should at least know like some, well, they can speak English, but it's very like obvious they're not native, which is fine. Like accents and all that, like you can't really do anything about those because like if you were born in like your native tongue, it's just really hard to like switch and change to speak like a native. But well, I have an accent too. Like I don't even know what kind of way of talking I am doing right now, but like the you can tell that they're not really fluent and they can't really understand or speak fluently. And if for example, if they're watching a video in English or a movie, like it's very hard for them to understand without subtitles. Well, it's really hard for them to like watch with subtitles as well because it takes them a long time like read and understand and comprehend. So I think they understand a lot of English, but and my mom can like do all those like financing reports and like doing taxes, and like she manages all that and doing okay, I think. And well, I should be more involved in like the family financial matters, but I haven't been that I haven't been participating that much in those aspects. But so they can do those like regular day-to-day activities, and my dad's a taxi driver, so he talks a lot with his customers, and he uses a lot of like thes and like therefores and all those like words that like you don't really need to use that much, but then he uses like a lot of it in excess, and like it's kind of hard to understand what he's talking because he's always like kind of not nervous, but like I don't think he's that confident in speaking English, which is fine, you know. You just can't expect a native Japanese speaker. Well, Japanese in particular is very hard to like switch from Japanese to English because it's so different, the language. So, they're trying their best in this society where they have to assimilate and learn a completely different language, but then it's already been 30 years since they came here, so whatever. Anyways, so I grew up in that environment where my parents could not really teach me anything about like whenever I had homework or whatever, like I couldn't really ask them for help because they didn't understand what I was learning, and they didn't know how to like teach me, or uh well, they just didn't know what I was learning anyway in school, and like they didn't really understand like what the teacher was talking about whenever we had like parent teacher conferences. And so I had to like do those kind of things alone and just figure out all those like worksheets and stuff like that alone, which is kind of, it was hard because like the teacher, like it was um those type of things, like it's like the perfect, or it's like the a good opportunity for the parent and child to like bond and spend some time together. Of course, if it gets too like strict, some parents, especially like Asian parents, can be very strict and like controlling and with like their children's studies. So, even though it was kind of sad that they didn't get to teach me and I kind of lost on that like parent-child bonding time, like now that I think about it, it's kind of benefited me in a way, the fact that I had to be independent and like learn by myself and teach myself, and I guess it kind of made me smarter in a way. And also I didn't really feel pressure to, like, I hear a lot of my Asian friends talking about how strict their parents are, and they always want to make them become doctors in the future or some kind of like high paying job, so they always like expect really high grades from them. But for my parents, like they never expected that. Like they didn't really care about my grades. I don't think, since they're bad with technology as well, they don't really know how to check my grades in the first place. So like I never had the pressure of like having to get straight A's or like I never felt those kind of pressure, and I'm always just yeah. And then I actually not like I actually have really good grades, not to flex or anything, but well, I didn't like in like I had like a lot of freedom with my studies, and I didn't feel controlled to always finish my homework because I already did them anyway. Um, yeah, so that's one benefit, and another benefit is that since they didn't really speak English at home, I mean, they never speak English at home, so like I learned how to speak Japanese normally, like naturally without having to like try because I just grew up in an environment where Japanese was spoken on a regular basis at home. So at school I would learn how to speak English because of my school, and then at home I learned how to speak Japanese because that's what my parents were speaking and that's what my siblings were speaking. And it's a big family. I have four siblings. So, I just caught on to the language naturally as I talked with my family. And so, having broken English parents, since they, instead of speaking English at home, they speak Japanese. So, I was like kind of forced into speaking Japanese to communicate with them and with my siblings. And so I'm kind of grateful that I didn't have to like put in the effort to master the language because I feel like a lot of what is it, second generation immigrants, they kind of lose their language and they can only speak English, which is fine, or they only understand it and they can't really read, write, speak it, and all that. So yeah. I mean, I think I can speak Japanese more than the average. Well, I speak better Japanese than like what is it, my church people I was talking about, and like my peers. Well, obviously, but like my peers who grew up in the same environment as me, who are second generation immigrants or have parents that are both Japanese or like half or mixed, and yeah, that's basically it. That's the benefit of having broken English parents. Like, I had to kind of like uh learn to appreciate because before I was like, why can't my parents like teach me? And how come the other kids can depend on their parents to teach them when they don't understand a question or something? But I always had to do it by myself, and I wanted to spend more time with them, but
Ew.
so I read a lot of books to make up for that, and now um I'm doing just fine, honors. I'm in an honors class since I was like in middle school or whatever. Like I used to struggle a lot with English, and they actually made me go to like a separate class to study English because I was so bad, and they had to like supplementary classes, I think, like special classes that I had to go in the middle class, and like they just like made me leave in the middle of class, and they took me to a different room, and I had to like practice English with this counselor person, and I hated him because he was so like he was kind and everything, but like his body language, even when I was just a little first grader or whatever, like I could tell that he was like his body language, he was like swinging his head from side to side, and like it looked like he was disappointed in me, and I felt bad about myself that I couldn't meet his expectation that I was speaking in like such bad English, and I didn't know how to speak English even though I was born and raised in America, and it made me feel bad about myself. So at our school there was like programs to like encourage students to read more, and I would cheat a lot on those just to get the prizes, but like I like eventually started actually reading books more to like not well at first I didn't really do it to like improve my English. I just did it to get more prizes because they did like raffle ticket system where the more you read you get more like raffle tickets, and then at the end of the week or something or at the end of the month they like choose from the pile of raffle tickets and then or a box of raffle tickets, and then whoever is drawn gets the prize, and it was like candy, stuffed animals, and all that. And I won those like multiple times, and I was proud, you know. I made my parents proud, and I still have the stuffed animals and all that. It was like a big ass stuffed animal that I still have. And there are all those like years of you know, actually I still suffer a lot with speaking too fast, and I still talk weird. Like my English sound doesn't sound very like native. I guess I don't. But at this point, like I don't care how I sound at this point. But I said at this point twice. But anyways, I don't really care about my accent as long as people understand what I'm saying. I hope you do. But I guess I should improve like my pronunciation a lot because bro, I embarrassed myself so many times with the pronunciation. Like I was so self-conscious and all that, and like whenever we have presentations, instead of like worrying more about like presenting in front of the class, I would be more worried about like my pronunciation, that people would make fun of me for not being able to pronounce things right. Because one time I pronounced cottage, like cottage house, like cottage, and I don't even know what was in my mind at that point, but like people laughed, and I wasn't even trying to be funny, but I think it was like part of a comedy presentation, so like people thought it was trying to be funny, but I wasn't. But anyways, they're all these traumatic experiences. I learned to like kind of stop caring about my accent, but also like I'm already doing fine with English. Like it's one of my strongest subjects, and I do well on it more than like subjects like math, which is like against the whole Asian stereotype of being good at math, because I am. Maybe this whole thing is my internalized hate against myself, and I just refuse to learn math because I didn't want to fit into the stereotype. But that's for another video. And for this time, like the whole back to the whole topic of like having broken English parents, but so it kind of helped me be more independent, be like teach myself and depend like not on other people but on myself, and the importance of just reading books and like putting your effort to master whatever you're struggling with. And you know, it just kind of at the end of the day just benefited me in a lot of ways. And there was a lot of struggles with yeah, I still struggle with a lot of things, but yeah, it's fine. It's yeah, I'm doing well. Okay, bye.